All right, let's talk some Niners. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and coming up on today's show, my Niners 2025 mock draft 2.0. Probably do two more of these in the lead up to the 2025 NFL Draft, which is coming up at the end of this month. Here specifically are the dates for how the draft is going to shake out. Round 1 will get underway on Thursday night, April 24th. Rounds 2 and 3 will be Friday night, April 25th, and then the NFL Draft will round out rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday afternoon, April 26th. The Niners, they have let a lot of players go. They've been able to stockpile a lot of picks. They have a lot of needs on this roster. Now it's time to nail and crush this NFL Draft, and they certainly have the draft picks in order to do that. Some really good draft capital here in 2025 and looking ahead to 2026, as we've talked about on the show. The Niners will have a first-round pick, number 11 overall. They'll have a second-round selection at number 43, 2 third-rounders at 75 and 100. So that's 4 picks inside the top 100, as you can see here to my right. But we're not done talking about these great draft assets here. 4th-round pick at 113, another 4th-rounder at 138, 2 5th-round picks at 147 and 160, and then no 6th-round pick, but 3 7ths at 227, 249, and 252. So with that, let's take a look at my second Niners mock draft right here exclusively on the San Francisco 49ers Report. A lot of mock drafts from other NFL draft analysts have the Niners going corner, maybe offensive line, defensive tackle. I'm going edge rusher here. And I think that edge rusher, defensive tackle, and right tackle, center, left guard, the biggest needs on this football team. So we're able to check off one of the biggest needs on this Niners roster and get a player who I think could end up being one of the top players in this draft class. And if that comes to fruition and you get Mike Green out of Marshall at number 11 and he ends up panning out, that's excellent value. He can take over games. He joins forces alongside Nick Bosa, and he has all of the ability and the potential to do just that. 6'3", 251 from that edge spot. He has twitch, bend, and speed. I love how he plays with violence, energy, and physicality. He has a wrestling background, so he can get nasty, but he also credits that wrestling background with some of his athleticism. Him being able to get low in his stance with some of that bend, being able to beat offensive tackles around the edge with some of those wrestling-like moves as he stays low to the ground. He had eye-popping 2024 production. One of the concerns I do have with him is that he worked very hard to get up to 250 pounds. He doesn't have a frame where he's going to be able to get a lot bigger than that, but 250 with twitch, bend, speed, violence, energy, and physicality, it plays at the next level. There are some concerns with drafting Mike Green. He was suspended in 2022 by the Virginia program. He does have 2 sexual assault allegations to his name that he's been tied to. Has not been charged, though. And he has had some strong character feedback from the Virginia coaching staff and the Marshall coaching staff. His Marshall coach said that he's one of the more humble human beings that he's been around. As for that 2024 high-level production, he led the country in sacks with 17. He led the country with TFLs as he notched 23. Marshall did play Ohio State. That Ohio State team went on to win the national championship. They have multiple offensive linemen, including a couple of tackles who are going to get drafted early in this draft. Mike Green popped. And so that was really impressive for me. And then the body of work continued throughout the entire season. Some people will say I have concerns that he had those 17 sacks and 23 TFLs at Marshall, but we're talking about a player who was an ACC recruit, and the tape does not lie. In addition to being able to get after the quarterback and wreck games in that manner, he's also instinctual, he's smart, and he's good against the run. Last 2 years, he's combined for nearly 90 pressures, 89 of them to be precise. Why did the sack numbers go up so much from 4.5 to 17? I think the game just fully came to him. And Mike Green, opposite of Nick Bosa, is what we've been dreaming about. And the Niners tried to make that happen with D Ford. It didn't work out. They took Drake Jackson in the second round. He might not ever play again. The Niners haven't been able to get a top-tier edge rusher on the other side of Nick Bosa really throughout his entire career since he was drafted second overall after Kyler Murray in the 2019 draft. This is their opportunity to do that. There is some risk, but if that checks out, I think that Mike Green can be a fabulous player at the NFL level, and I think that he can impact games right from the jump. We're going to take a swing on a player with boomer bust potential at number 43, and we're going to address another need. And we're going to take Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Some people who have watched that program closely, some people in NFL front offices have said that Kenneth Grant can end up being one of the top players in the NFL because he's 6'4", 331 pounds. He's massive at that nose tackle, defensive tackle front. He can play on staggered fronts along the interior. But while he has all this potential, and he's shown some really good flashes, including a great performance against Ohio State, he also could be a huge bust, and he might not pan out. There's good tape, there's bad tape, but he does have power and length to defeat blocks. He has heavy hands. He's a powerful striker. Sometimes he can lack explosiveness. That's why I like a player like Walter Nolan. He's lighter, faster, more explosive. But I think that Walter Nolan's going to be off the board by the time the Niners select at number 43. And while Kenneth Grant has been too inconsistent, I'm banking on Chris Kosaric and Robert Saleh being able to maximize and develop the player. And if they can develop him, Kenneth Grant can stuff the middle. He can get and slip past interior offensive linemen on his way to the quarterback, and he can stop the run. 32 tackles last year for Grant, 7 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 27 pressures. It's a good number along the interior of the defensive line, 5 pass breakups, 2 fumble recoveries. He never fully put it together while at Michigan, but sometimes he was overshadowed by a player like Mason Graham. What I do like there, the pressure numbers in back-to-back years, 27 and 23. I thought he tested pretty well in the pre-draft process at the NFL Combine. He did have a relative athletic score of 717, but weighed in at 331 pounds and ran a 5.13 40-yard dash. He also had a vertical leap of 31. And so he might lack explosiveness from time to time, but some of that short area quickness, that can be worked on. That can be developed, I believe, because of that vertical leap. In the third round, we need to start addressing this offensive line. And I'm going to go with one of my favorite under-the-radar players in this draft class in Charles Grant. He is a small school player out of William and Mary, but the traits, the body type, the skills, they are there for him to be an excellent player down the road. He's 6'5", 311 pounds. His arms are nearly 35 inches long. At that size at his pro day, he nearly ran a sub-5 40-yard dash. It was clocked at 5:05. He, too, has a wrestling background. I love wrestling backgrounds for offensive linemen and defensive linemen because they have that mean streak. They're nasty, but they get good leverage. They're really good athletes. And I think that those types of skills and that mentality translates to playing bully ball in the trenches. What's incredible about Charles Grant, he started playing football as a junior in high school. But despite him being inexperienced and not playing football long, he's turned into a really good player. He has good technique for a small school guy. It's better than a lot of Power 5 players. And he did end up starting 41 games in college for a run-heavy William and Mary team. I think the athleticism will allow him to play in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. He does have a tendency to hold. Going to have to develop a little bit, but you don't need to play him right away. He can be a sit, develop, and play next year at left tackle or right tackle, depending on if Trent Williams retires. Colton McKivitz is also entering the final year of his deal. He graded out very well, did Grant, according to PFF, an overall grade this past season of 90.7, pass blocking grade of 88.1, run blocking grade of 89.9 in this outside zone scheme. You have to be comfortable in space on those pull blocks. He is. And then I like some of the other numbers. The penalties, yeah, you got to work on those. He had 7, but he gave up 6 pressures, or 6 hurries, and 1 hit. And that overall grade of 90.7. That's just fantastic. With the 100th pick in the draft, we're going to go wide receiver here. You're not sure when Brandon Ayuk is going to come back. You traded away Deebo Samuel. Kyle Williams is going to have a top 30 pre-draft visit with the Niners. That goes to show you they are interested in the Washington State product. And Kyle Williams, I know that name. It brings up alarm bells. He's not the Kyle Williams that fumbled the punt in the Harbaugh era, okay? This is a different Kyle Williams from that special teams ace and wide receiver. This Kyle Williams is a better wideout. 5'10", 190 pounds. He can move and run. 4.4 40-yard dash. He's really explosive off the line of scrimmage. He has these speed cuts to beat man. Good route runner. I like the short area burst, allowing him to pick up yak. That's important in this Kyle Shanahan offense because you're going to get the ball in space, and this offense is predicated on you picking up yards after the catch. He does track balls well downfield. The Niners are in need of a player who can take the top off of the defense. He's a little bit smaller at 190 pounds, so sometimes he can struggle against press man. That's a little bit of an issue. Going back to the Super Bowl 2 years ago against Kansas City, that's where Deebo Samuel really struggled. He's not the best blocker either, but he is a home run threat, and the Niners might really like him for that reason. The usage and the production was also there this past season. Targeted 101 times, 70 catches, nearly 1,200 yards, 17.1 yards per catch, 14 touchdowns. The drop numbers, a little bit higher than what you would want. And when you look at his college career, 3 drops in 2023, 5 apiece in 2022, and in 2021. So the hand's a little bit of an issue. Sometimes he can use his body, but that's pretty good production over a 4-year college career, an experienced player who I think over time can develop into a really sound wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3. One of my favorite corners in this class is Jacob Parrish out of Kansas State. If he's still on the board at 113, you address that cornerback need and you run this pick to the podium. He's smaller at 5'9", 191, doesn't play like it, but he's a little bit smaller, so I think at the NFL level, he's your slot inside corner. So then you keep Deommodore Lenoir on the outside after that primary switch there last year, and Renardo Green is a natural outside corner. But you have a young cornerback room of Deommodore Lenoir, Renardo Green, Jacob Parrish. That's a good secondary right there. And Jacob Parrish is a player who can take off in a blink. He can run with the best of them. 4.35 40-yard dash. He was a state champion sprinter in high school. He's twitchy. He has really good change of direction skills. Loves press man. Plays a lot bigger than that size. He will match the physicality of bigger players. And I do like his versatility. He can play inside, outside. He did that at a very high level at Kansas State. This past year in 2024, 50 tackles, 3 TFLs. The ball instincts are there. Reading and diagnosing plays, making plays on the rock. That's what I want to see from corners. 8 pass breakups that evidence that fact. He was targeted 73 times in 2024, 41 catches, 371 yards given up, 2 touchdowns, but a quarterback rating when targeted of 73.5. He's played a lot in his college career. A theme of that draft class for the Niners last year with Ricky Pearsall and Renardo Green, Dominic Pooney, Malik Mustafa, they played a lot of football. That allowed them to play a lot as rookies, and the Niners are relying on a lot of these rookies to be impact players right from the jump. But for Parrish, again, the ball instincts, the ball skills, 13 pass breakups in 2023, 8 pass breakups in 2024. That's good stuff right there. If you want more draft coverage, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Lock us in. We're closing in on 160,000 subscribers, and we do it all here on the 49ers Report. News, rumors, analysis. We crushed free agency. We've been crushing our NFL draft content, so hit that sub button. You don't want to miss everything that we give you right here on the program. Our sponsor for today's show is a brand new sponsor that we're elated to bring on board, and that's our friends at Brunt. They just sent me a new pair of work boots, and the Marin work boots are fantastic. And you can save $10 and get $10 off if you go to bruntworkwear.com/chat. Now, a lot of you don't know this about me. In addition to talking Niners and covering the NFL, I actually love woodworking. Woodshop was my favorite class back in high school. I love building things, creating things, and turning projects into something that you can have forever and be proud of. The art of it is awesome. After my mom passed away a few years ago, she said, whenever you see a butterfly, I want you to think of me. So I actually built this table from scratch, sanded it down, put some stain on it, nice little polyurethane finish. I wood burned that butterfly on the tabletop, and now it's in my bedroom as a memory to my mom and a little memorial in there. And so the thing with woodworking is if you're working on a project, a deck, house, a table, you name it, we're on our feet all the time. So we need comfortable, durable, good-looking boots. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Brunt. The Marin boots are the most comfortable work boots I've ever worn. You can finally have the durable work boots that are as comfortable as your sneakers. Join over 500,000 other customers and join the Brunt family today. Brunt lets you try the boots on the job risk-free. All of their products have free shipping. Their best-selling Marin work boots are not only built for the toughest job sites, they're completely waterproof. Whether it's rain, mud, or standing water, your feet stay dry. Brunt isn't just about work boots. They have everything. Full range of high-performance gear built for tough jobs, heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets. Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. So Brunt just didn't make a durable work boot. They reinvented comfort for the hardest workers. I know people who watch this show. We're grinders, man. So for a limited time only, our listeners, our viewers, get $10 off at Brunt by using the code CHAT at checkout. Head to bruntworkwear.com. Use that code CHAT and you're all set. Even better, they let you try all their products on the job risk-free. After you make your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that the 49ers Report, Chat Sports, and Chase Sr. sent you. We move forward with our mock draft here. Running back is in need for San Francisco. Jaydon Blue is a little bit of a risk. He needs to convince NFL teams that he's willing to put the work in. He has ball security issues, but boy, oh boy, he's a home run hitter. 5'9", 196 pounds, good size. Ran a 4.38 40-yard dash. He's explosive. He can hit another gear in the open field. He reads blocks really well. He's a good scheme fit in this outside zone scheme. When he sees a hole, he hits the hole. That's what you have to do. That's a back in Kyle Shanahan's system. Steve Sarkisian ran a lot of the same concepts as Kyle Shanahan. He can also catch the ball out of the backfield. He is a consistent house threat player who can be gone in a blink. Again, the concerns here with him, 7 fumbles over the last 2 years, and some work ethic concerns. The Niners want players who love ball. Jaydon Blue has to prove to the Niners that he loves football. Really came onto the scene in 2024 with his lone breakout season. He touched the rock 134 times running it, 730 rushing yards, 5.4 yards per carry, and then 42 catches for 368 yards. 14 total touchdowns, that's good. But the 3 fumbles, he was good in the college football playoff, but again, coughed it up a little bit too much. I'm going to go with a value pick here at a very important position. And you can never go wrong with taking a developmental quarterback. Look at what Kyle Shanahan's been able to do with the likes of C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins, Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Kyle McCord can develop into a really good player. And so the Niners have 11 picks. Why not use 147 on Kyle McCord out of Syracuse? Good size at 6'3", 218. Really put it together with Syracuse in 2024 after there were some up and down moments. And at times he didn't play confident football with Ohio State. That's why Ohio State brought in Will Howard, who led them to the national championship. Kyle McCord is not too mobile in or outside of the pocket, but I like his aggressiveness. He's a gunslinger. He can get the ball downfield. At times he can process a little bit slow, but Kyle Shanahan, I think, can help him with that. He completed 66% of his passes. He threw for nearly 4,800 yards, 8.1 yards per attempt. He had 37 total touchdowns. did throw 12 picks. That's the gunslinger mentality there coming back to bite him. But with some development, I think that he can be a high-level backup and maybe even a successful starter in this league. And it really depends on what the Niners think of Tanner Mordecai. But you have Brock Purdy. You have Mac Jones. I'd love to add Kyle McCord to that quarterback room. We also have to address the offensive line once again. And let's go to a Georgia program that has developed elite pro after elite pro. Dylan Fairchild is a player who is massive in stature and size. 6'5", 318 pounds, a very stout frame. He is a straight-up athletic freak. Benched 440 pounds. As an offensive lineman, you're using that chest and that motion all the time. He's squatted 570 pounds. So he will not get uprooted often. He's very hard to move. He's a gritty competitor, very strong in the run game, a little bit inexperienced, and at times that does show, but there's not a pressing need for him to play right away. But over time, the Niners have to improve that offensive line play. Teddye Buchanan, linebacker out of Cal. If he's here at 227, I would take him. The Niners do have a sneaky need at that linebacker spot. He might go a little bit earlier than this, but I love how good he is in coverage. I really like the athleticism. Teddye Buchanan was 6'2", 233 pounds at the NFL Combine. Ran a 4.6 40-yard dash. I think at times he can play faster than that. He is a ripped athlete with a really strong upper body. Excellent in coverage. He can cover running backs out of the backfield, tight ends, some slot receivers, flips his hips in a very fluid motion and manner. I love the fluidity to his game as he drops back in coverage. That type of skill set and that aspect of his game is a little bit reminiscent of Fred Warner. He does have blitz ability as well. High character player. He can struggle with reading and diagnosing plays, sometimes instincts, but what better player to learn from at that linebacker spot than Fred Warner? The Niners, I think, could go tight end at some point in this draft, despite signing Luke Farrell to that contract to be tight end too. They have a pre-draft meeting and visit set up with Jalin Conyers, who's a really good athlete out of Texas Tech. At 249, I'll take a chance on a developmental player who has some upside. And then at 252, Jake Majors. He is a little bit limited as an athlete, but at Texas, when he had to go up against some nasty interior defensive linemen, players who were very physical, he fared well. He might struggle at the NFL level with that, but I'm looking at scheme fit here. The Steve Sarkisian, Kyle Shanahan connection, the amount of experience, and while the athletic testing isn't great, he's a little bit limited as an athlete. The tape is pretty impressive. He was a very steady center for the Texas Longhorns, a program that made that deep run in the college football playoff. He played in high-level games in the SEC and in the Big 12. And with the 252nd overall pick in the 7th round, this is a player that I want to see if I can develop. So grade my Niners mock draft 2.0, A, B, C, D, or F. I think we get some really good players. We address some needs, and we continue to build this football unit.